Hey guys, don't we all love video games? I mean, who doesn't? Unfortunately, gaming is not without its fair share of bad business decisions and controversies. Today, we're going to be talking about what I think were the top 10 worst gaming news of 2017. Let's hop to it. It's easy to say that Bungie's Destiny 2 has become one of the biggest games of the year. Now, I personally played Destiny 1 a lot back when it came out in 2014, and I played it up until 2016, but when I stopped playing, it's because the game just got so repetitive and it turned into this slow, boring slog of doing the same bullshit over and over again. And I didn't get Destiny 2 because it's pretty much the same thing. But that's not the reason why the game is on the list. The reason why it's on the list is because they pulled some stupid bullshit off with the new DLC, Curse of Osiris, in where pretty much if you weren't a high enough level and if you didn't own the DLC, you couldn't play certain strikes or raids, and these strikes and raids were already in the base game from launch. So they locked out content that was their day one because they wanted you to buy the new expansion, and that's really shady business practicing. And I think it's really fucking stupid when a game company wants to do that too. If you already spent $60 even more on the game, you should be entitled to play everything they release on that first day. Now, I believe they have fixed these issues, which is good, but still, it's a really stupid move on Bungie's part. I know they did something similar like this on the first Destiny game when it launched back in 2014 with the first DLC. It's never okay to do this though, and I hope they kind of learned their lesson because they did get a lot of backlash this time. So that's why this is on the list. Fuck you, Bungie. The new hero, Moira. Fuck this bitch. Seriously. For many years, mankind has pondered upon several important questions to understand his place in the universe. Such as, what is the true meaning of life? Is God really out there? Can Team Sonic finally stop making shitty Sonic games? Well, that answer is a big fucking no. Earlier this year, they decided to give us Sonic Forces. And good God, can I say that game was a hot steaming pile of shit.
That is one big pile of shit.
It just seems to be lost on Team Sonic on how to make a good game anymore. I can't remember the last time they made a good game. Maybe Generations? But that was back in, what, 2011? It's been a long fucking time since they have given us something that people can enjoy. There's still a lot of Sonic fans out there. God bless them. I don't understand how they could put up with this bullshit, but it's truly amazing. Look at Nintendo and Mario, for example. Every Mario game that Nintendo puts out there is innovative, it's amazing, it's fun. And then you look at Sonic, the blue bitch, who just cannot catch a break. When I first heard of Sonic Forces and you being able to make your own character, I thought it'd be a little cool, and maybe they'd go for kind of more like, I don't know, an RPG type in a good way, but no, the game's garbage. I don't have anything else to say. This game's fucking stupid. Team Sonic, they're never gonna give us a good Sonic game. You know, it might be just best to take out good old Sonic and put him to rest, Old Yeller style. Modern Warfare was easily one of the best Call of Duty games, right up there with Modern Warfare 2, World at War, and Black Ops, which to me were the best Call of Duties. A lot of people were excited back in 2016 when they announced they were making a remaster for it. But the catch was, you had to buy Infinite Warfare to play the fucking game. And I sure as hell ain't spending extra money for a COD I don't give a shit about. Another kick in the balls was that some of the original multiplayer maps and all the DLC maps were missing. And earlier in 2017 they announced it would be released as DLC, which is bullshit. It's technically a 10-year-old game. Just give us all the content in the remastered. You're already making people pay $40 for the remastered itself. And also, back in June 27th, I believe that was the date, they released a standalone version of the remastered version for Call of Duty, which is a great fucking marketing strategy, Activision, because if you did that from the get-go, more people would have bought the fucking game. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking about, but it didn't work out for them. The servers for the game are pretty low on Steam, and from what I've heard by users on Reddit, they're pretty low on the consoles as well. Congratulations, Activision. You gave us a remastered that people wanted and found a way to make people not buy it. Loot boxes, motherfucking loot boxes are a scourge of video games in 2017. These things are just popping up everywhere, from Shadow of War, Injustice 2, Call of Duty World War II, For Honor, Need for Speed, Forza, UFC, and the more recent Battlefront 2. Now, loot boxes have been around for a couple of years already, but we've really been seeing more and more of them showing up this past year of 2017. It's really annoying to have to buy a game for $60 and find out, hey, you want this nice powerful orc to suck your dick? Well, give us $5 and you might get him in a random loot box. And why the fuck does a game like Injustice 2 need loot boxes? It's a fighting game. That's one genre you definitely don't want loot boxes in. I just hate seeing how these loot boxes are slowly seeping their way into every major title that's been releasing this past year. It's despicable. I'd rather just have them say, hey, you want this skin? Give us $2 and it's yours. But instead, they'd rather throw that shit in a loot box, have us pay them how much money until we can finally earn it randomly. They get more money that way. Now, is it wrong for a company to want to make money? No, it isn't. And some games can make it work well, like Overwatch, which is nothing but cosmetics. Although I do blame those motherfuckers at Blizzard for the rise of popularity in loot boxes. But the issue is when the game is pushing you to get these boxes, and then it starts getting predatory and it gets addictive for some people. They can't help it. The game is preying on that weakness. Imagine finally getting that skin you wanted. You feel happy, but then you realize you blew $20 before you could get it. Companies could make it easier for us as players to earn this through just playing the game normally, but no. All they care about is this. This is what they care about. Money. Your fucking money. One of the first biggest game blunders that most people can think of at the start of this year was how Microsoft canceled production on Scalebound, which is a real fucking bummer. This game was looking great. It was being made by Platinum Studios, which is one of my favorite studios. They've put out a lot of good games over the past couple of years. And it's a real shame because this was going to be their first take on an open world RPG type of environment. And the trailers looked pretty fantastic, and I was wanting to see what they were going to do. Now, I don't own an Xbox One, but having this game in their lineup would have, I feel, benefited Microsoft, and they just pulled the fucking plug on it. From what I can tell, there really wasn't a reason why they did it, besides maybe the studio just having some issues, taking a little too long on the game. But even then, that doesn't give you the reason to pull the plug on a game. That's the thing I hate about these big publishers, is they don't give these studios enough time to, you know, make a product, polish it out, make it great. Either they rush them and we get these buggy piece of shits, or they just cancel them completely. And it's a goddamn shame that they had to do it to Scalebound. Scalebound was looking real fun. It's one of the first games I can think of where you can team up with a goddamn dragon. That sounded exciting. It's just a real bummer. It's a real kick in the balls to Platinum Games, and a kick in the balls to the gamers who would have enjoyed it. Fuck you, Microsoft. This next blunder of the year goes to TakeTwo Interactive and their interaction with the Grand Theft Auto modding community. Now, Grand Theft Auto's got a pretty great modding communities. They've made a lot of fun, popular mods that people can play and mess around with. A lot of people enjoyed it, and even in some occasions, TakeTwo promoted some of these modders themselves. But earlier this year, they pulled a complete 180 and decided that modding was illegal and unethical, because they were somehow worried this was going to affect shark card sales in GTA Online, which is fucking stupid. It's not going to affect it. It made no sense. On top of that, they had people, they try to get people to remove their mods, remove their modding pages and communities. Even in one case, they got fucking private investigators sent to some of these modders' homes to try to forcibly shut down their products. That who the fuck goes to that length to try to stop people from making fun content? It's bizarre. It's overwhelming. It's ridiculous. Right now, as it stands, Take-Two, they pulled a really stupid fucking move, and if anything, it kind of just showed their ugly side. I'm not a fan of what they did, and I'm disappointed in them. I mean, I just don't understand how they could make modding on a video game illegal. I mean, what the fuck are they gonna do? Get the FBI down on my house just because I'm playing with a fucking Rick and Morty mod on Grand Theft Auto 5? That's ridiculous. Get the fuck out of here, Take-Two. Who do you think you are? Number 3 on this list goes to EA's decision to close Visceral Studios. Visceral gave us great games like Dead Space 1 and 2, which they were mostly known for. They also worked on several other games like Dante's Inferno, the Godfather series, The Simpsons, and some James Bond games. But there was also Dead Space 3 and the shitty Battlefield Hardline, but yeah, let's not get into those. Another reason why Visceral's closure shocked fans though was because they were working on a single-player, story-driven Star Wars game, which was nicknamed Dragtag. They brought in Amy Hennig, who is the main story writer for the first 3 Uncharted games, to work on it. This was supposed to be a game to introduce us to the more grittier aspects of Star Wars. From what they described, you'd be playing as space scoundrels, smugglers, bounty hunters. And unfortunately, EA kept making it difficult for Visceral to work on this game. First, they told them to stop work on it so they could do the shitty Battlefield Hardline, and after that, they just kept pulling staff away from the Star Wars project to different studios, which kept leaving Visceral understaffed, so it was harder for them to work on this game. Visceral had completed a demo for the game by October of this year, but EA, being the smug cunts they are, weren't satisfied with the single-player narrative and closed down the whole studio. It's a damn shame, because this sounded like a great idea for a Star Wars game. Now, we never got any gameplay footage, and Visceral was only able to put out small teasers for the game before they were shut down. EA CEO said that they shut down the studio because they thought the game was too linear and a story-heavy title, and they were listening to player feedback at the time. That's real fucking cute. People shit all over Battlefront 1 because it didn't have a story-driven campaign, you fucking idiots. Fuck you, EA, go suck a dick. Ooh boy, this next one's my specialty, Mass Effect Andromeda. Where do we even start with this thing? Mass Effect Andromeda, the game I love to hate. Now, everybody should be well aware at this point about all the issues that the game had. Those terrible animations, the generic-ass story, one-faced villains. The game was just uninteresting, uninspired. It was average at best. But before the game came out, everybody was expecting something amazing. We were expecting a grandiose space opera that was going to blow our dicks out to the moon and back. It was supposed to be better than the past 3 Mass Effects. And instead we got the exact opposite of that. Now, the problems with Andromeda go all the way back to 2013. That's when they announced that they wanted to start working on another game. And the developers at the time said, hey, let's do something in Andromeda. Let's explore that concept back in Mass Effect 1, exploration. Because that was something that was really weak in the game. It wasn't fleshed out at all. So that was supposed to be the main basis of our game here. They envisioned that you'd be able to just hop on a ship, fly around wherever you want, visit planets. And there were supposed to be over, I might be wrong, I believe they said 300 planets initially. And that's a fucking lot. That's a lot of exploration. I mean, at that point, the game sounded a lot like No Man's Sky, and this was before No Man's Sky was announced. Apparently, though, they had to work with the Frostbite engine, and they saw that engine was not compatible with what they wanted to fucking do, so they initially went from 300 planets down to 7. They scrapped a lot of ideas like the space flight and some of the other things they wanted to do, but I don't understand where they got this grand idea of fucking just exploring the whole galaxy. This is a Mass Effect game. That wasn't gonna work. What the people really wanted was a good story, compelling characters that we could get to know and love, and we just didn't get any of that. They had grand ideas. They wanted to fly to the sun, but they got too close and their wings fucking melted. Because of all those setbacks the game suffered, it took them a while to finish everything, and obviously we saw what the after effects were. We saw the shitty animation, the shitty story, the poor writing. It's all because they wasted a lot of resources initially. Now, I don't think Andromeda was a complete heaping pile of shit, but it wasn't the greatest game either. I'd hate to have to see the franchise die because of it. I don't know what's gonna happen to the Mass Effect series after this. They might not make another one, or they might try to give it another shot. Let's just hope if BioWare tries to make another attempt at the Mass Effect series, they get it right this time. So that's why Mass Effect Andromeda is my second biggest blunder of 2017. And the #1 biggest blunder of the year in video games goes to, and you should have seen this coming from a mile away, is Battlefront 2. This shouldn't have come as a surprise to anybody. This has so far been the biggest disaster in video gaming in 2017. And boy, what a shit show it was. Everybody should know by now how EA tried to pull a fast one on us and introduce microtransactions via loot boxes in Battlefront 2. The loot boxes could get you star cards that increase your stats in the game. So if you're someone who's got a lot of money to blow, you could easily get better star cards than the average player, and the field would be in your hands. It's unfair, and most people aren't rich assholes. Eventually, this caused a huge backlash when the early access of the game released, and EA got so much hate from all corners of the internet. They tried to smooth things over with statements and going to social media sites like Reddit, but we all know how that turned out. All this bad attention eventually got Disney to move in on this, and they didn't want to see EA shit on their precious Star Wars baby, so they told them to remove the microtransactions at the last minute. And they did, which was a good move on their part. But of course EA was going to listen to Disney. Disney's their pimp right now, and EA wants to hold on to that Star Wars contract, and Disney could easily take those away from them. But the damage has been done. Sales for Battlefront 2 were seriously hurt and didn't meet expectations, and EA's reputation, which was already shit, has become even more tarnished. It just goes to show how EA doesn't care for the consumer, they only care for the money. EA is fucking horrible, they are the spawn of Satan. I need to dedicate a whole video talking about EA's terrible history. Another thing that came out of this fiasco was how it was being talked about in major news outlets. There were new articles on the Battlefront fiasco popping up almost every day when it was going on. And of course, this got picked up by the government, and several legislators proposed the idea of issuing loot boxes as a form of gambling. And I hate loot boxes, but at the same time, I don't want the government to touch our video games. I don't know if it would be any better for the gaming community if the government stepped in. But thanks EA for getting good old Uncle Sam to start investigating our video games, you fucking retards. So yeah, as you can see, this is a huge problem. And I can only say I hope EA, those stupid cunts, and other large game companies learn from this horrible event and tone down on the microtransactions and loot boxes in the future. They need to know if they try to push a shitty corporate level microtransaction scheme on us, we aren't going to accept it. We're gonna fight back, and we can't let something like this happen again. We have to stay vigilant in the future, my friends. Well, now we're at the end of the video. Those are the top 10 worst things in gaming in 2017. Let's hope we don't see much of this being repeated in 2018, so leave a comment if you agree or disagree with my list, and leave a like and subscribe if you want. I would really appreciate that. Thank you for watching the video. You guys are great. Stay safe out there. Peace out.